What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Sports Bible Podcast. It has been, I think, 3 weeks since we've recorded. It was a long final, a long, sad, dreadful final for Rob. For me, didn't really care. Kind of just hated all the antics that went on during it. But besides
You're
that,
happy.
I
You're
don't, I don't
happy a
hate
little.
I don't hate the Celtics. I hate the Sixers.
If I'm a Knick fan, I'm a little happy about this. Like my cousin's been, I know he's rubbing it in my face a little bit.
See, like my dad hates the Celtics, but like I think people don't like Boston sports in general just for the fact that they haven't like what's their drought? 2 months? Like when was the last time they won was the Patriots
Stop.
last time they won? Or the Bruins?
If you're looking at this on video, you can't see through the audio. I'm wearing that Chasing History or History Made shirt for the
Wait,
Boston Red Sox.
did the
And
were the Red Sox the last team to win? No, right?
yeah, I believe they were, right?
Well, I don't really know hockey that well. Like I root for the
They did.
Rangers.
These haven't won since they made it in 19. They lost to St. Louis, I
And I'm
believe.
trying to think of the like football because I know baseball the Sox were 18. Um, but football it was
The
last year was
Pats,
the Rams.
well, what they lost. When's the last time the Pats won? Was it the comeback?
It was 13 it was the 13-3 game
And that
when
was
they beat
against who?
the
The
Rams.
Chiefs?
The Rams. That was
Chiefs.
Mahomes' rookie year, or Mahomes like not his rookie year, his first year starting. So that was 18. Yeah, so 18. So yeah, the Red Sox. No wait, then it was 19 technically. So there it was the Red Sox won, and then the Patriots won.
Which was also maybe what I was thinking yesterday, maybe one of the best teams ever witnessed, the 18 Red Sox. And
Yeah, they
yeah,
were good.
basketball's over. I'm in full baseball mode. I mean, go on. What were you going to say?
No, I was just gonna say I think that people don't like Boston sports. I don't like hate the Celtics, but yeah, let's before we get started, just like always, follow us on all social medias, Sports Bible Pod, all across the board. I apologize for our lack of consistency. It's just been a busy couple weeks, with the finals going on. It's hard to really find like that happy like middle to like record something without like something coming out, with other news coming out, or another game getting played. I know it's all excuses. If you don't want to hear me, you could just shut this off. I don't. It's up to you. But now that we're in the off season, we'll have a little bit more of a structure, and we're gonna look to keep it that way for as long as we can. But for now,
Yeah.
what's up?
Oh, especially like, the heart attack that I just went through myself.
Oh,
And I
you got a
know
heart attack?
when when we recorded before game one, and I was, we were reflecting on the game seven against the Heat, and I just was talking about how speechless I was. Um, yeah, obviously everyone knows, if you know me, I was going through a panic attack day in, day out during the series. We both started working, or you've been working, I started working again, and I guess for myself individually, like I know that I'm due to put out a bunch of articles as well. So yeah, we'll be a lot better. And best time of year to talk, like I was just saying to you on the phone, end of June, July, fireworks and basketball. My Sox picking it up a little bit, back on the bandwagon. That
And
base,
Fourth of
that
July,
basketball.
4th of July, go to boardwalk, get a cold one,
Yeah,
nice Corona.
yeah. Always in Point Pleasant, I am with my job, but
I was gonna say I
yes,
gotta meet you there one day.
yeah, bro.
It's like 15
Whenever you
minutes
want
from
to
my
hang.
house.
Of course, we got to do a pod live still, inside, outside, talk a little
Yeah, I
baseball.
mean,
We'll get that. Talk off season, of course.
yeah, I always felt that what do you call it? It's easier to talk about a sport when there's no games being played. I don't know why.
That's when most noise is going on, whether it be free agency, whether it be
Like
trades,
content
whether it
wise,
be.
I feel like it's the easiest.
And then, of course, like, and as everyone knows me, like, you know, my one friend actually, we laugh about it now because he doesn't, as well as a bunch of others, obviously, like they don't want to listen to Stephen A. and Greenberg and Jalen during halftime. That's mine and your study time or first take or NBA Today that I have on now.
Or
And
dinner.
if you know me, like, I feed off and I grow from, getting other opinions, and I see their perspective, obviously, now that
Yeah.
me and you have a lot of knowledge in this field. And, I use that, and I agree with a lot of it, and I see backgrounds, et cetera. And yeah, so people like me and you feed off this talk and this noise and rumors, et cetera. But yeah, I'm ready to get into it, whatever you are.
Yeah, well, the point that you just made about it was if you guys didn't know, you've joined a life lessons podcast because this podcast has been all over the place. We're like 6 minutes in. But I respect people like in that business. I understand it's like TV, so you have to talk about certain topics, but that are real. Like obviously, you have to make it a little controversial, or else no one will watch it. Like people would kill Skip Bayless for like being like having these terrible takes, but at the end of the day, like they have to make TV. They have to make ratings. If everyone agreed with each other, no one would have ratings. We don't agree on everything. I don't scream at you like Skip Bayless screams at Shannon Sharp, but we don't agree on everything. So, or even vice
Yeah,
versa.
like exactly. I listened to some of Stephen A. on The Old Man and the Three like a week or two ago, and
I listened to that. That was good.
yeah, everyone around me hates Stephen A. And just because we do what he does, I see the side. And they were talking about, you heard probably when they said we don't like, we pick things we're going to disagree with, so we get those reactions. And yeah, we all hate, or we all laugh at Skip Bayless and his outlandish takes and outlandish statements, especially on Twitter and on Undisputed. But like, dude, he made his way here. Stephen A. has this entertainment on Stephen A.'s world, gets 1 billion viewers through YouTube because they made their way here. He made his way. Like, wrote for the Philadelphia Inquirer, covered Iverson, played basketball, tore his ACL.
Yeah. Well,
And
he played basketball in high school.
yeah,
That was funny. He was like, I tried to play.
Yeah, and but they wrote like us. Like it takes
Yeah.
time, and as I've been saying on this podcast since February, January, like it's tough to find a job in this field, and you just got to keep consistent and keep working, and
Do what you want to
you
do.
just got to
Pave your own way.
put your. Mm-hmm.
All right, now
Just keep
that
working.
me and Rob's soapbox is over, the finals. Um, no, seriously, like if you guys listen to this, we really appreciate it. We're really trying to like get that one episode that just explodes and like just, and mostly like just because like I think it's super cool to me to interact with people, and like I would love like if we could ever get to that point of audience level to like answer questions and stuff like that, because I think that's super cool. Not even like people, like I know people get paid to do podcasts and stuff, and obviously will we like to get paid? Yes. Oh, I'm not gonna lie to you and say no. I'm gonna turn down money. No, obviously. But anyway, I truly enjoy like on TikTok. Like I put out like top 10 rankings. Follow my TikTok, by the way. Just I think it's just Richie Dortis. And I truly enjoy it because like it's fun. Like it's not me. It's me like talking to a bunch of my friends about sports, but just like haven't been called mean words and been told to get off. Yes. And I don't like the attitude also. It's like, oh, you're giving me negative clout, so it's views. Like, no, like, I don't care about that. Like, everyone's entitled to their opinion. And I don't like when like I see people commenting like on Colin Coward's like YouTube videos and like shorts, I guess you would call them, saying like, oh, no one cares about your viewership. This is why no one listens to you. This is going against what I'm saying, but giving him that comment is giving him what he wants.
That's something, yeah, that's something me and you have talked about since we had class in the fall, and since you told me that you started doing that, not even with our pod, but like on your own. Whether it's negative or positive, if people are viewing it, attending to it, playing it, thinking about it, any of that, obviously, like, you're obviously doing something right. Of course, you're doing what you're supposed to do, creating that path for yourself. That me and you, yeah, like we're young adults, like we have things that get in the way of our lives, like, working and being with loved ones, whatever. But like we've put ourselves out there a lot, especially you. And obviously you're doing great things, whether it's positive or negative. It's something we've learned through basically just not even just sports. Like, if people who know me knows was obsessed with logic. Like it was like a little girl seeing Mickey Mouse at Disneyland a couple years ago. And that was his big
Are you breaking
motto.
up
So
a
I
little
kind
bit?
of learned.
You're
What was the
like
last thing you heard?
No, I hear you, but it's like cracking a little bit. I heard you say like Mickey Mouse and all that stuff.
Yeah. Can you hear me now? You're not breaking up for me.
Yes. Talk again.
Yo.
Okay, I think we're good. No, because it was like your voice, your mouth was moving faster than your words, like on my screen.
Yeah. So you can hear me?
Yeah, you're all good. Yeah, I always heard you. It was just like
No.
I thought I was looking at having a stroke or something.
No, but that was just not that I had to like give this as an example, but like, yeah, I basically, because that was his big motto when I was obsessed with him years ago. So that was his thing, is like, you're doing something right if people are like even paying attention and like even caring to listen or whatever. And obviously those people aren't even real in the first place. Like, what does it matter to us?
Yeah. What's up?
You're the one creating great shit, of course, like I said, but go on.
People are going to disagree with you.
Exactly.
I don't like how, like I said, like I don't like the like the creators. I'm not going to mention names, but I saw one that like someone pointed out, were they a little out of the line with their comment, calling him an idiot and stuff? Yeah, a little bit. But I don't like when people are like, bro, you have like 100 followers. I have this. So like, what do you know? Like, because more people listen to you doesn't mean you're smarter. Like
go to school.
Yeah, even if you don't go to school, just like you don't know what everyone knows. I have no idea why this person thinks the way he does.
Well, yeah, that's like it's like, dude, if you put the time in and studied and went to school for it the way we did and gained all this knowledge, then you could have a voice. Like, we deserve to have this voice as much as people might laugh hearing this. We really do. Like,
6 people, averaging 6 viewers.
Like, and I was going to say too, when we got into the Celtics, I was going to say, this is my first time formally publicly speaking since last Thursday. I don't give a shit about Bleed Green. I didn't need to hop on, and just because I was recovering from my little depression, of course, and like, dude, I'm getting like 3 viewers. Fucking cares. Like, this is our move here. Like,
oh my God.
And people like us.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I hope people like us. I'm hoping that one day we can get a big viewership, because I think we have like I said, I understand like negative press is still press, but at the same time, like I like and enjoy interacting with fans or viewers or audiences. Like, I think that's fun. Some people it feels like they kind of lose themselves, I feel like, and they try to end up doing it for businesses and try to just get clicks rather than just being true. Because at the end, clicks can only get you so, clickbait can only get you so far. You have to have real content and genuine like opinions to get like a consistent audience.
Yeah, and provide analysis and journalistic views, of course, like we talk about.
Yeah, everyone's different.
My friends actually laugh because this is probably way before I met you, but like, before I wanted to do this, when I was that Celtic spokesperson through the early, 2013 through 2019, whatever it may have been, like, I would get, like, if people said something to me, I would just, I would reply back no matter who it was, and just be like, get into those arguments and actually care. And then when I would start this past year getting those 19K likes or whatever, like over X amount of 1,000 likes and retweets on Marcus Smart or Robert Williams or Celtic shit. These curses are necessary that I've provided early on. But when that would happen, a lot of people would reply like, obviously, like something about Marcus's shooting or something negative. Like, I would pay no mind. Why? Because they're not real, and why? Because I've learned. And like this is
everyone is entitled to. You might think the same way about their favorite player.
And that's at some point we won't even be looking at this.
Yeah, exactly, and
we won't.
Yeah, so to get into the finals finally, what's your overall take on it? I know, like, as a Celtics fan, it's rough, but like as a NBA fan, you can kind of zoom out a little bit and take it a little differently. I have some thoughts on the Warriors that kind of annoyed me, but you can go first.
So I just keep laughing thinking back to you when we watched the Met game, when the last pod we did, when you're like, all right, I know I say like you just ramble, but take the floor away, you deserve it. But
oh my God, if they would have won the finals, I would have just shut my laptop and went away.
Yeah. I would have liked to have thought that, wow, yeah, I'm off of work today too, so it would have been nice to go to the parade yesterday and come back today, but up in Massachusetts.
You wouldn't have missed work for that?
Oh, I would have. But it would have worked out perfect. Anyways, so my whole perspective on it is like just sad the way it ended. Like I just basically said to you. And of course there's a million different angles you could look at this. We look back at Christmas time, we didn't think we'd be here, of course. And this is, you gotta specifically speaking of one player that we'll get into, you got to fail to succeed. And that's something I tweeted. When I tweeted his YouTube regarding people hating on him, tweeted his 46, and everyone knows what I'm talking about now, his 46 against the Bucks in Game 6 in Round 2. And so I keep looking back on my angle to Game 4. Portnoy's in the house, getting in Draymond's ear. You're up teens going into the second half or late in the game. And it was just, the house was loud. I just remember thinking, this is looking beautiful. Like, we might really take a 3-1 lead. Like, this is how special we are, how dominant of a force we are. The vibes, it was just looking special, of course. Like, looked like a for sure 3-1 lead. I was feeling great. Then, the Warriors kind of figured it out. Steph, I want to say this was maybe one of the best finals performances we've ever seen. The game he had 43 and 10. I think it was this one.
What game?
He was led Game 4, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. When they tied it, because we won the first in Boston. Then Steph was, chirping at the fans, feeling it.
It was Game 4.
Yep. So then we go scoreless, the Boston Celtics, that is, for 5-6 minutes. They couldn't score the last few. It was 97-94 or whatever it was, and we just went cold. We were getting the looks. We just kept missing the shots between, like, Smart, Brown, Tate. Like, threes just weren't falling, and we really just went cold. There was a lid. So it's 2-2. Like I said, this was the game they figured it out. My mindset was like, all right, bounce back. Of course, at work, the only thing on my mind throughout the day, the only thing on my mind, everybody knows me by now. But so you go into Golden State. They basically beat us down 3-2. You got that Tatum and Draymond, obviously they're best friends, but, him just keeping the ball from him, stuff like that. The atmosphere, I was kind of a little confident knowing like how much success we've had in that building that I've said to you numerous times. it's just really another huge part of it, like disappointment wise. I guess I'll just finish the series first. But so then, yeah, you come into game 6 at home. I said this to you on the phone just before that game was even looking great. 12-2. Tatum was off to a quick start. Then the 21-0 run.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to say this publicly. I've said it to my friends, not in the moment, but after, because they were with me. But when I saw Steph break down, I was, as everyone knows, I was saying, like, cry either way, win or lose. I see Steph break down. I'm like, I'm feeling it. Like, even before, I was like, this wave of emotion, the waterworks. I was like, man, I see him. I had to bite my lips so hard. And it was tough, man. Like, it was just, I was pissed and sad. And just with how all-time of a defense this was, how special of a group, the way they took the hardest path. Tatum locks up Durant, take down him and Kyrie in Brooklyn. We beat the world champs in 7 games, that game 6 that I just mentioned. We take down a, tenacious 1 seed that played I don't want to say an all-time defense, one of the best defenses in the league, Jimmy Butler. Now you face the final boss, who we'll get into this as well in a little bit. In my opinion, and this isn't biased or recency bias speaking, a lot of people would agree now, they are right next to the 90s Bulls for the best team ever. And we'll talk about Steph in a sec, but it's just, yeah, I didn't think it would end that way, losing 3 straight. At least I thought maybe, send it to 7, win 1 more. You're up 2-1. With how special of a group this was, I didn't see them losing 3 straight. We could look at a couple different disappointments, even though obviously it was beautiful that they made it here in the first place. Big learning curve. Tatum needed this. They needed this. But the bench was disappeared after game 1, after the, Horford wasn't scoring much besides, game 6. When he had like 19 and 15 or whatever he had. And like he had his game 1 besides White. White completely like Draymond, give him credit. He was right on his podcast. They didn't shoot like that from 3 again. White disappeared. Grant Williams disappeared for 2 rounds. Peyton Pritchard was nowhere to be found. So he really had no second unit. And something I was going to say at some point is, like, I think the Neesmith thing is a big disappointment too, just because, like, if he could give you like 15 minutes and knock down a shot. No, I was just saying that's a big disappointment because I've told you how his threes just doesn't fall in the big leagues. And he kind of sounds like me, referring to myself in a real game where I'm like, yeah, it always just falls in shoot around, falls in practice, but it doesn't fall in a real game. Even though he hustles and makes great plays on D, but if he could be that hero, like Tyler Hero for them, and come in like the 6th pick that he was, and knock down threes, make plays like that, help out Tatum and Brown as a wing, it could be different. And if he doesn't come out in training camp or in October looking good, this could be the end for him. But it's just tough to be when you're an elite shooter like that and you don't see consistent minutes, I guess. I mean, we saw a little bit of him in Miami early on in the series where he wasn't hitting, but like he had like 3 blocks that one game. It's just the shot just doesn't fall. Everyone hears me compare him to the Carson Edwards of them now just because he's that great of a shooter and it hasn't fallen. But so no bench. Tatum, everyone's giving him the heat. But it's like my thing on him is we see this Kobe Bryant young type of prodigy that has been perfect throughout, who's younger than me. And we needed a hiccup at some point, and here it was. And it's not like he was that bad. He put up the same stats as LeBron in his first finals, shot the same as Kobe in his first finals. But again, you got to fail to succeed. He was good on playmaking, good on rebounding. The biggest thing was he was gone in the second half of every game, in the fourth quarter of every game. Was mentally out of it in that game 6, not talking to anyone, looking out of it, looking zoned out on the bench, just like staring into space. There was something wrong with him. But we know every year he's just going to continue to show that all-time great status and continue to improve and improve. And, I don't know if it's anything specific now. He'll work on that floater and stuff like that, of course. But so that's my biggest sad part of this is, I didn't think it would end the 3 straight. And I thought they'd recover from that 5-minute scoring drought with the special team, the special defense they were. The bench disappeared again, and Tatum we thought was better. It's just Brown was looking like the Finals MVP, which I did a pod segment on Bleed Green. I think it was when we were up 2-1, I want to say. Maybe it was 2-2. But so we'll get into their possibilities, and we'll talk a little about the Warriors. But so they have – I keep calling it Hayward because I remember just saying this for so long, but – you heard me say it on the phone.
Yeah.
They have the Evan Fournier TP from the Knicks departure. $17 million, expires July 18th. They have Al Horford made his $24 million bonus by making his first finals. Their biggest message now, and if you're the Celtics, it's can we get another wing or guard to help Tatum and Brown not play them 40 minutes every single playoff game, take pressure off them.
Did you hear what Brad Stevens said today?
That's basically what I was getting at, yeah. And then from something obviously me and other fans don't want to get into, do you need, we see how much of a great point guard Smart became in the second half of the season. His size, defensive player of the year, solid playmaker, became a bit traditional, had that month of averaging 7 assists, even though he doesn't score a lot consistently, as everyone knows. Do you need a better playmaker that's going to get them more comfortable, that's not going to be a turnover machine at times with the Jays and be sloppy? And, yeah, I don't see them he's my favorite player ever at this point. He leaped Rondo after this whole run, of course, as you know, but I don't see them parting with him, but I think it's on their mind. Do we need someone more calm and settled that's going to help them excel even more and bring the best out of them as the best playmaker by their side possible? And, yeah, can you get, we'll talk about who they could afford. I wrote down names with the TPE, the $17 million. And we'll talk a little about this Beal noise besides the Warriors and Steph, but, can you get a scorer all right, I guess I'll just say the names now. Here's who they could afford. TJ Warren, Gary Payton's probably going to leave Golden State potentially. Pat Connaughton, Kyle Anderson, who Boston has always liked. Dragic, Joe Ingles with his ACL. Actually, not the TPE guys. These are all mid-level exception guys they could afford. But the TPE guys, you got Kuzma making 13, Malik Beasley 15.5, Duncan Robinson 16.9, Norm Powell 16, KCP 14, Kevin Huerter 14. So these are all wings that can, if they had Gordon Hayward a couple of years ago, kind of the one they had when Kemba was still on the team and he was healthy, he'd be a great fit. Be a wing that could score, play make himself. But the thing is Derek White did not – he was the biggest disappointment, especially with how he was against the Heat. He was nowhere to be found, like I just said after Game 1. They thought they had it in him, especially with his chemistry in the Olympics that I've always preached to you about, and with Udoka in San Antonio. He just wasn't a scorer. He just really wasn't, and he was a big disappointment, nowhere to be found. I guess we'll let you talk finally, and then I'll talk a little about the Tatum-Wiggins nightmare.
Well, the point I think a move that the Celtics can make. Well, first thing I will say is the Warriors and the Celtics, I know Tatum struggled a little bit. He did struggle. But it was so obvious that the main difference was that the Warriors have been there and the Celtics didn't. So they knew exactly what to do, and Obviously, every game is different, every series is different, but they knew what it took. Like everyone says, like, "Oh, I know what it takes." Like I like this, that, or yada yada yada. But you learn with experience, and that's not the Celtics' fault. These guys are super young. I understand the criticism from like networks and stuff because those networks, and rightfully so, were in the moment, are zoomed in. When you zoom out and look at the season, they were in the NBA Finals, and Jason Tatum led them there. So the reason why he is criticized is because he's regarded as a top 10, top 8, top 7 player. Um, and to the Warriors point that I wanted to get to is that can you guys just just stop? Like Klay Thompson, you just won the NBA Finals. Why do you care what Jaren Jackson Jr. Said? Like what was it? 2 rounds before?
Yeah, like no, I think it was. I could be
Yeah,
wrong. I was gonna
they
say
were
right.
the semifinals.
Yeah, it was right. I don't know why I thought it might have been a regular season tweet that he looked back on, but yeah, I think it was the semifinals. But it's just yeah, the cockiness, man, and everyone knows like I'm all for them and their dynasty and organization, and everyone knows
But it's like
Curry's.
stop talking. And I didn't mind Draymond Green in this podcast. I didn't. But you're gonna complain that they're saying "F you, Draymond," and then curse on the podium, and then curse in front of all your fans on live TV with children around when you complained about that. I don't mind you doing it, but if you're gonna complain about it, you're doing the same thing. And then I saw this thing, and it kind of makes sense. Steph saying like, "What they're gonna say now? Like they doubted us." You've been the 6 of 8 finals. We doubted you because everyone was hurt. Like no one doubted your talent when you guys were healthy. But like Klay was hurt. Klay did play terrible in Game 6 for once. Like you guys won the finals. Why do you care what? Like why do you care what Jaren Jackson Jr. said? I thought John Moran put it best. Like there's a ton of real estate in your minds if you guys still care about a tweet. And like why like Draymond Green with Jaylen Brown? Like what? Like why did you have like why? There was no point in saying that. Like, did you guys want to win the finals for your glory and your fame, and because winning the finals is great as competitors, like as fans even too, it's a great feeling. Did you want to win for that, or did you want to win to prove people wrong, even though you've won 4?
Well, yeah, I completely agree. I guess I would tie the two together. But and that's what I was about to say is, and you know it, especially everyone who knows me knows that like I've always rooted for them, and it's the
I
roots.
do too,
Yeah,
but it's just no. I was it's just like annoying. It's just frustrating that this is what we're hearing about after you just won the finals.
yeah, and the root all started. I've said to you of me rooting for them against LeBron after they've beaten us when I was younger, but and then realizing the beauty of basketball that they've displayed for going on close to 10 years now. And, as everyone knows, and I came into this season thinking, especially during our struggles in the winter, they were my pick to win it. Steph was looking like a lock for MVP before this Embiid Joker Giannis takeoff. And I guess before their little growing pains with Poole and the whole Clay thing that me and you
Also,
talked
didn't
about
you
a
miss a
lot.
couple weeks?
Yeah, I was gonna say he was out himself. Um, but it's
Get your ice
do
cream,
you hear the
bro.
so
Ice cream trucks when you were kids.
so
That
everyone
was so fun.
knows me. They know Steph is my favorite player, not a Celtic. They know that I love Draymond until this series, and I love him whenever he's not going up against Boston. I'm a Clay guy. I've always been a Steve Kerr guy, and he is one of the top all-time coaches now, rightfully so. Um,
He has
it,
9 championships.
yep, yeah, that's whoever has to hate on him, like coming into all this, I would always say, yeah, like he's got that team, but he's been around it all. He's been on the best team ever. He's been an announcer.
He
He's been,
he might be coaching the best coaching the best dynasty or played on the best dynasty.
Yeah, and he's been an announcer. He's in the San Antonio front office. He's been in the Olympics. He's been a part of it all. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing you could say if you're Boston. You ran to arguably the best organization of all time, in my opinion, best team ever, right next to the Bulls. But like I said before, this is why people who I think Steph is probably top 8, 9 now. You could argue him against Kobe and Durant, knowing Durant never won by himself on that all-time. And it's just, yeah, that's why people compare him to Mike, is because people have never seen something like this. And you could say all the cliche things, oh, best shooter ever. But it's just like,
we knew that.
yeah, human influence, right? Steve Kerr says it all the time. The thing about him is he's not a freakish beast like LeBron, like Giannis, like Durant, like Shaq. He's some small guy. And talk about human relations. He kind of looks like us. That's why people love him so much. And like, he just is so amazing. You never seen anything like him again. And he's carried this foundation for this going on 10 years, like I said. And he is the Warriors. And all, Bob Myers, the owner, Steve Kerr, they were all preaching it after they won Thursday night. It's just like, it's a beautiful story about how the last few years were. And I see their emotional and Steph's emotional point of view is like hearing all this noise that I'll never be back. I'll never win it again. I'll never win a finals MVP. And he finally did it when really it should have been his second finals MVP. And it shouldn't have been a topic of conversation as it was, because he was already a top 10 guy. But this is inside, top 8, like I just said now. And yeah, he heard this noise, and he did. You probably saw where he did this, like referring to Marcus Spears and Perk, and it's just, yeah. I mean, they fulfilled the destiny. They reminded everyone who they were, and that's why I think they're the best team ever, possibly. And like them in the bowl, I've done this to you all the time through the video comparing people like this. Them in the
Watch
bowl,
YouTube, guys.
yeah, them and the Bulls are neck and neck. And yeah, it's like you got to see if you're Tatum, if like we said, it kind of relied on him. He could have been better besides, their experience compared to ours and the bench disappearing. It's just, you got to fail to succeed. The East will be tougher, but they'll be back. They're going to be aggressive, knowing they always follow Golden State's footprints when it comes to like building, and Brad sees what they need, a score like that. Like I just said, they're going to be aggressive with this TPE, whether it's for, one of the guys I named in that money range or like one of the MLE low free agents that I named. But, I'm thinking about this Bradley Beal noise now, but, I just can't even believe we were here in the first place.
I don't love that. I don't love that fit. And I'm not a big fit guy, but I don't love that fit.
Yeah, real quick before we get into it, it's just, it's all human relations when it comes to Steph, like I just said, and the Tatum-Wiggins thing. Like Wiggins gave him nightmares. He saw the tweet that said he'd rather Parker than him back in the day, and he just clamped him. He was blocking his shots left and right throughout the series. He gave him nightmares. Gary Payton was super active. At times, like, there was this one, like, at times they even looked a little too passive when that's how great they were on offense all season to get them there. Like, one time Horford was posting up Steph, and he just kicks out of it when he could have just floated it over him. But it's just, everyone was talking about the Celtics defense and their, tenacious grit. But the Warriors showed how great of a defense they are, and just showed, who they've always been on that end, really since, like I just said, for the third time now, close to 10 years now. And yeah, like I said, this had to be a hiccup from some point. from Tatum. But you just got to take positive vibes from this each and every day. I've just been, growing less and less sad. Baseball I'm getting into now.
So the Red Sox are getting hot.
Yeah, but like I said, the bench got exposed, so one of those fits would help. But yeah, I guess we could talk about Beal a little bit.
Yeah. Before we get into Beal, I just want to make one statement. If you have to cherry pick stats to bring down a player, a la Steph Curry, Finals MVP, he's got you beat. If you have to find stats, if you have to cherry pick stats to either make someone look better or make someone look worse, your argument's invalid to me. But for Beal, I guess I'll start. You think he fits?
Um, the argument can go a couple different ways, and throughout the run over the winter and this postseason, you heard me saying like I'm not as hooked on the topic just because it looks like they didn't need him. But the way the bench got exposed, the way they looked like they could use, like I said, another wing to take pressure off, which he could
But
provide.
he's not going to come off the bench.
I know. So
I have an interesting name, but I'll let you finish. I have an interesting name though, but I'll let you finish.
I mean, I listened to the Draymond pod with Tatum over the spring or winter, and Tatum got into more. I think I might have said this to you on one of the previous episodes, but he got into it more. I'm sorry, of how they've really been brothers their whole life. How Tatum's mom cursed them off, and for him doing things like that she didn't like bringing him to clubs, bringing him over to Florida for his games, and he just would always pick him up, and they would work out together. Literally best friends. It's kind of like, you're that freshman in high school and you got that upperclassman that has your back. That's how it's always been. And it's just, even after that, I was like, this is a real thing. And knowing obviously the relationship, and I think I've said it to you, it's kind of like a Stafford Kershaw thing at this point, how it's like, my God, like how much are we going to go on with this?
Like, are they even friends anymore?
And every time they play, it's just like giggles, buddy, cover each other. And you probably saw it as well, clips of Beal on Draymond's pod saying he is that MVP. He is the top player, one of the top players in the league. He deserves it. And then a couple days ago, a day or two after the series ends, which is pretty big news, especially if you're a Boston Celtic fan, it's like, oh, so he knows who he wants to play for, but he won't reveal anything. And I don't know if you've seen, but they have the best odds to land him, 3-1 odds. And especially if he was to leave, it's kind of hard to imagine, of course, the other side of it, knowing how much money Washington's going to give him and how loyal. You could argue, Jesus, he's the most loyal guy in the league besides Damian Lillard, and he's certainly acted like it. I've been looking for little bites, thinking, is he just kind of comparing it to the Kyrie Boston situation where he's just playing the role, acting like he is that loyal guy, but maybe he's not.
Yeah, but he's
Obviously,
signed
he's
deals and stuff. Like Beal has signed deals.
Yeah, and he's not going to be compared. I didn't mean to compare him to him, of course, but just see if I can pickpocket things. Like
he's next.
Like this one point, or this one time, I was watching NBA Today months ago, the heat of the season, like I said, February, March, and one of the beat writers for Washington was like, are you going to ink that extension? Like, what would you say? And he's like, that's fair. There's something there. Like, we know that it's like, is he really? But so if you're the Celtics, this is going to take major changes, which obviously you don't need since you just made the finals, but you do need somewhat of help, like I just said, like a wing scorer like that to help out the two, help them grow, take the pressure off that Derek White, that Aaron Nesmith, that Pritchard, that Williams didn't provide. And you have I haven't seen anything on it yet. You have the Fournier TPE. I don't think you're gonna part with Horford with how important he was, and as you know, especially on the other end with his leadership defensively, his ability to switch, and even his passing. We've seen him gone cold on offense. There's no surprise there. But he's not going to be 37 until next June. So you got the 1 year, 24 mil for him to ride out. I don't see them parting with him. So 17 with the TPE. Derek White makes 17. So that's 34 right there if you were to part with him. And you're not going to part with Marcus Smart. I just don't see it. Like, yeah, I like the idea of maybe looking for someone who, and it hurts my heart to say this, looking for someone that's, more just calm, like I just said before, with the ball and the situations we saw. I mean, dude, you heard me preaching, and you were too, about the last episode we did about the Game 7 in Miami and his decision making.
Yeah.
And we saw it a lot in these finals. And I know he is a traditional point guard, but you could also argue that, like, is that going to do anything for you in today's game when you need buckets? But, like, also, someone to calm you down. And he does that, but, like, we could use someone more fluent on the scoring end and not someone who's a threat to turn it over, stuff like that. But, yeah, so those are the two things you look at if you're the Celtics. You add someone to take pressure off those two to help. You think about another playmaker, of course. And I'm liking this Beal jitters. I really am. Like, there's a connection there, whether it's Tatum in the front office is like, okay, let's do what we want for Jason, or do what Jason wants, and we know it'll take us to the next level. But it's tough because we don't know if they would, like I said, I don't see Horford being parted or Smart. You got White and the TPA. Me and my best friend brought this up last night. Tice makes 9 for 2-3 more years. So you could get him off the books too. And, Grant Williams is up for extension, but let's not put it past us. What has he done since that Game 7 against the Bucks? Like I said, exposed for 2 rounds. You could use him as a chip. So we just talked about it on the phone. These are going to be a fun, exciting few weeks. The draft Thursday, free agency back to its normal open date, July 1st. And fireworks are going to be flying. It's the best time of year, really. And, yeah, it's just like you take positivity away from this. You played the best organization ever. Steph, I'm done hearing any sort of criticism about him. Did you see that play in Game 6 where obviously Draymond stepped it up, but after he made the first 3, which I was waiting all series for him to finally make, Mike Breen, when he takes the second one and misses, Mike Breen's like, Draymond feeling it. And, like, Van Gundy's just like, did you just say feeling it? That was the funniest thing ever.
Yeah.
And I love it.
I didn't see that, no.
I love it. But
what do you call it? Yeah, for me, Bradley Beal, I just think they're friends and all, but you'd have now 3 guys that can't be your point guard and are ball dominant. And I don't know how much that would work, but that's all I have. It doesn't move the needle much for me because it doesn't really feel like he wants to leave the Wizards. But someone that has been not gone with his word, Kyrie Irving. We all saw the report. What was the exact term they used? Impasse?
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah. And then the Knicks and Lakers are potential suitors, which I saw Nick Wright said, you're the Knicks. You can't whiff on another star free agent and all this stuff.
In the desert, finding a bottle of sand.
Yeah, I get what he's saying. And, like, we didn't whiff on Zion. We didn't get Durant. We didn't get this guy, that guy, whatever. But with Kyrie Irving, what has worked for the Nets? Like, they haven't won anything. and he's been more of a distraction than like you don't. I say this all the time. You don't think of Kyrie Irving as a basketball player anymore. So
And like,
it's just not. It's like I as a Knicks fan, no, I don't want to sign him, and it's not like oh let's let the young guys grow. No, it's the same thing with my football team situation. If you took away all of his stuff off the field or off the court, then yeah, of course I would take Kyrie Irving's talent if he played every game. Of course I would take Deshaun Watson's talent if he, you know, was not in legal trouble for reasons I don't even think I could root for the Browns right now because of that. But anyway, I don't want to get into that. There was actually news on that today. I don't know if you saw, Rob. 20 of the 24 cases got settled.
it's funny because my boy at the Sands, I've been telling him he should come on soon. He's like in his 30s, and like we've always
He's a
talked
Browns fan,
sports,
right?
and yeah, and Knicks. So
Oh,
like
okay.
I've been telling him like
Yeah,
at that date, but
but yeah,
um, and I've told him you love the same.
it's just like on the court. Obviously, two different, way different scenarios with Watson and Kyrie. Like way different reasons. Kyrie is not in legal trouble, but like I'm sorry, and who cares if he doesn't fit with Tibbs? Well, you kind of have to. He's the coach. And the last thing the Knicks want to do is fire another coach. So why bring in this guy when they are saving up money? I saw for Jalen Brunson. You see that? They're clearing the room because
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
apparently Alec Burks and Nerlens Noel are probably going to not be on the Knicks, which Alec Burks was a good player. He was just misused on the Knicks. He's not a point guard. And Nerlens Noel, I mean, he was fine. And we also saw before I haven't talked about the Knicks in a long time, but we saw right before we started recording that the Knicks are working on a multi-year deal with Mitchell Robinson, which I am a fan of. Especially, I I don't know if Julius Randle is on this team in literally 3 days. I don't know because I do think they're gonna trade him. I think they're gonna get that pick for Ivy, who by the way, my cousin locked up, but my
So
dad's like, you want the Ivy? You want Jaden Ivy? He didn't play well against St. Peter's. I'm like, that was like his worst game. And my cousin,
yep.
Um, I still gotta text him to get on. I know he's been a little busy. He's transferring schools. If you guys didn't know, he transferred to Bryant. They actually made the tournament as well. Peter Kiss was the leading scorer. I think in the country he was the leading scorer. Don't quote me on that, but I think he was like the leading scorer in the country. Anyway, back to Kyrie. I'd rather just roll with IQ and sign Brunson. I'd rather do that because the Knicks with Kyrie ain't winning. They're not. But if you hit on if Jaden Ivey is Trae Young, then then you got him, you got RJ. Is Ivy is a point guard or a two guard? I always forget.
I thought he was a point, but like I'm sure he could do a little bit of both.
Because even then, I mean, I don't know if Brunson's gonna want to sign as a shooting guard, but he's in Brooklyn right now.
With
What
his
is it?
dad on the team, with his dad
Yeah,
as the assistant coach, I don't think he cares.
Jaden Ivey, I mean, it's a positionless league, but I think the point guard kind of matters still. He's a guard, so I think he played mostly. He brought the ball up a lot in college, so he's probably a point guard. But if you have him and Brunson, and you have Barrett, you probably have Toppin because Randall probably is traded, and then you have Mitchell Robinson. So I mean, Oh, I forgot about Fournier. I forgot. Damn it! Did you see he had like a live donkey in his back seat, like a month ago?
He's the man.
I've said this before though. Evan Fournier shot 40% from three last year. He was not the problem. The
The
problem
Celtics
with well, no, yeah, you got better because you lost Kemba Walker. But
well, I'm
because Kemba Walker's a New York kid and a nice guy and a big smile, no one wants to crap on him. And I'm gonna be the miserable dude that craps on him because we had no point guard and it was so frustrating watching Alec Brooks trying to run pick and roll when he's literally a volume scorer. Oh, that felt good. Um, but I if you trade for Ivy, you're probably not getting Brunson. Like if you trade up to get Ivy, you're not getting Brunson.
so I know like plenty of New York Forever Knicks Nation Knicks tape is gonna agree with you and say like why? You know what? We don't want Kyrie Irving. Like it's the total opposite of 2019 with how these past few years have gone.
Because like we've said, so how many times have we said like Kyrie, like, oh Celtics, great move. Nets, great move. They've both been dumpster fires.
Yeah. And I retweeted last night a picture of this Boston Celtics Forever page, and it's Kyrie Irving's like smile, and it's like the team he's on with like
Oh,
a burning
Sapphire. Did you see someone posted that with Baker Mayfield? He's kind of right, it seems like. So he's probably gonna end up on
yeah,
the Panthers.
sadly. But
Oh, I'm getting his jersey as soon as he gets traded because it's gonna happen eventually. But like,
I was saying to my friend, why not the Giants?
I would like that because I'd be able to watch him. But
Of course.
you
I
know,
mean, anywhere, really.
it's just with the Browns, like I said, Deshaun. I love the move from a football standpoint, but one, I don't condone his actions at all, and two, if he's not going to play for a year, that'd be 2 years removed from playing football. And now we're giving this guy 100% guaranteed money. Tom Brady doesn't even get that.
You might like this. When I talked about it with my friend at work, he's on the same mindset as you. He said,
It's like I have a weird feel. I have a weird like a weird juju, like trying like rooting for him right now.
yeah, and like the fact that, this is the way it happened when the guy who's on his way out was all heart, love for the city. All he
Yeah,
cared about was his team and helping win.
he tore his
And this
labrum
guy,
and cracked his humerus bone. Like
like,
he didn't play well last year. Like we can all agree on that. Is he the easiest to deal with? It doesn't seem like it. Like from like what reports
yeah,
and whatever. But I'd rather deal with that than this.
yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. Like people have whatever they want to say about him, but like he still like is a man when he talks publicly to the media and speaks his mind. And I actually like that about him, of course, and I know you do too. But it's like, and the other guy gets all this money in the world, buys Rolexes or whatever he did just to earn his teammates' love. But yeah,
I
you earn
don't.
that
I
on the
don't care
field.
about that. I don't care. You got the money, but I
Yeah,
just
but
go on. I was gonna say something about it after.
what I compared it to, and of course you probably can, if you really think about it, you can guess what I'm going to say. It's kind of like the Isaiah Kyrie thing, where the other guy,
Yeah,
the one guy is all heart, will do anything to win, anything for the city, through injuries,
it's a
through
good comp.
deaths in the family. Yeah. And then you bring in Kyrie Irving, where like we saw what happened, and we saw like, and I think they'll be successful when Watson figures this out. But we saw what happened with that when it comes to all heart compared to none.
But when is that gonna be though? Like if he gets suspended for 17 games and he's out for this year, and like I said, he didn't play last year, so it's 2 years removed. And I mean, I think, like you were saying, that's a good comp actually with Isaiah Thomas. It's just on obviously different levels. I don't know. I mean, the Browns have made a lot of good decisions in the last couple of years. They've locked up their best corner, their best defensive end, their top running back, their O-line. Everyone's locked up. Everyone not locked up in jail, like contract situation. Um, and they've made good moves. They made good value picks. They've drafted well. They've done all this stuff very well. You didn't have to get desperate because And I'm talking about this like it just happened. Like it's the fact that this is still a conversation is the issue. Baker was on a contract for one more year for $18 million or 18.6. So I don't know the exact number. You can't ride it out for one more year, and then like if you miss out on Watson, you see what's going on right now with him. Let that be Atlanta's problem and find someone that if you're such a good, well run team, if you're because a healthy Baker in this system won 11 games, won a playoff game. He had the same. You want to hear this stat? He had the same amount of playoff wins as Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, and like
I know it's a little, it's not like perfect, but you know what I mean.
yeah, and one down year for a young guy was all it took for the media and
Yeah.
the fans to be against him.
From a football standpoint, I can't argue Deshaun Watson makes the Browns an elite, legitimate team like in the AFC. But if he ain't playing, if he ain't legally allowed to play football, then how are we gonna like just? And you gave up 3 first-round picks. Like it's just, I don't buy into like, oh, this is the Browns being the Browns. It's a different GM. But it's a desperate owner. You know, this
Yeah.
owner has been known to be doing stuff like this. He wants a quarterback. You have a quarterback. Baker Mayfield is serviceable at like last year at his best. He was fringe top 10. That's probably his ceiling. At worst was last year with a broken shoulder. A healthy Baker Mayfield is serviceable at worst.
Yeah, and
So
like I see your point of view. It's tough. There's a
like
lot of
there was 0 point in making this move with this much risk.
yeah, and like it's a little sketchy, and like I see the jitters. I see your point of view, but all you can do is just hope for the best and hope like these allegations get figured out and like
Yeah, I just hope that whatever the truth is what happens. I obviously I don't. If he did do stuff to these women, then he deserves to get whatever comes his way. But if he didn't, then it should be settled. But now there's 4 there's 4 cases. He sees his shadow. I don't know if you can see him. Oh, there you go. See,
yeah.
that's an empty fish tank, and he's Gus. Anyway,
Cute.
yeah. He what was I saying?
The allegations.
Yeah, there's 4 cases that still aren't settled. And people are like, it's confidential. That means it's under the table. No, that means that they're not going to tell you the number. They're not going to tell you what is settled. Like, but he did say last week he wanted to clear his name. Now he's settling, so maybe, like, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, but it's just frustrating that we could have not been in this situation and just rolled with a quarterback whose biggest controversy is play on the field. And I'd rather that than this. How are the Sox doing? I know you said you wanted to hit a little bit of baseball.
First of all, back to the. Well, I just want to say this.
Very good.
Let me finish the Kyrie thing, but I'm just going to say this: Bradley Beal next team odds.
I couldn't find them. I was looking for them before.
I'll send it to you on Twitter. Ryan Ward, the link.
Oh, I'm looking on DraftKings.
Richie Dortis.
John Wall will exercise his $47.5 million player option for the Rockets.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And
Christian Wood.
We can talk about that, but Dennis Schroeder is expected to leave too, so I think he's a fit for the Knicks. If you need a point, like he's serviceable, like someone you could just like hold things down. But I guess real quick, the odds: Celtics 3-1, Blazers 4-1.
Who did they get from McCollum?
From McCollum. They got Josh Hart and that whole package. Who else? Who am I forgetting? Ingles.
No, he
No,
was
that
in
was
Jazz.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I know it was the blockbuster with Hart and someone else.
Well, regardless, he's not CJ McCollum.
But The Knicks are 10-1 behind Philadelphia, if you care. The Nets are
He's probably
Hawks.
not going to go to the Knicks.
Anyway,
Denver is interesting.
yeah, Celtics got a good chance anyways, but
The Nets,
dude, yeah, for real.
bro. Some of these, the NBA is such a. I like basketball, but sometimes they just have some wacky like takes. The Spurs, I mean, the Spurs are lower here, so Utah. What about like Cleveland? That'd be sick.
Yeah, but like,
They're expected to sign Sexton. Actually, I saw.
I mean, we'll see what happens there. I mean,
They're in a good spot regardless.
yeah, Levert's going into his contract year, so this is big for him, performance wise and durability wise. He's expected to make at least 100, I saw. But to your Kyrie point, there's a lot of people in the orange and blue organization who agree with what you're saying. But I'm sorry, I'm with Nick Wright on this one. Like everything's on the table
with
but
Kyrie.
Yes, I do. Everything's on the table but Barrett.
Okay.
And I get the decision making, I get the mindset, and this is coming from me, who is, I want to give him more than a 3 to 2 year deal. And I think the Nets should explore if a sign and trade presents itself to anyone. And if they can get, a team player that's going to help them win. That's the thing. Like, that's our biggest thing that we've talked about in the past, too. He hasn't been a winning postseason player since Cleveland. And he won the Celtics a lot of games in the regular season. But, he hasn't been a winning postseason player since 16. There was even people, I think Cowherd was saying Wiggins is better in the postseason than him. I know me and you have said Drew Holiday.
The West Coast bias that he has for Andrew Wiggins is insurmountable.
Yeah.
He talks about Andrew Wiggins like he's Michael Jordan.
Exactly. And Nick Wright's the opposite. But I see what he's saying. Like, you need some sort of, endorsement coming your way. And it's not Julius Randle anymore, whether he's a second option or gone.
I like Julius Randle.
Like, we know how most of Nick fans' thoughts are about this, but like, how much they would love him when it came down to it. Like, when
if he played, that's the thing, though.
Yeah, there'd be boos if he came into the building and sat in the second row like he did in Barclays. There'd be major boos. And from a Nets fan standpoint, I don't know. You still. You biasly, I guess, have to think that like him and Durant could work out. KD got hurt. Of course, like Steve Nash and how bad he is, and Simmons is coming in. And that's good that he got the surgery, has the whole summer to recover. But who was the first? I've said it for months. Who was the first domino to fall in these actions for the Brooklyn Nets? It was Kyrie. Or I get it, like, oh, the mandate, like not his fault, but dude. It's still his mindset. And, like, if you're getting – like, first of all, people would kill to do what he does, of course, and make that money. And if you're in a job of our own and you have to get vaccinated, we do it. Like, Kai, your team is supposed to be the best duo ever. With Harden, it was supposed to be the best offense ever. And your decision-making is just – ignorant to ignore this. And Stephen A is right, everything he says about him. You tell him what to do, he won't do it. He does things on his own terms, own time. And the owners, like we saw the Nike deal get dropped. The owners, they don't like this, that he's just happy being off the court, like hugging everybody. Owners around the league, owners for endorsements like that. And
you're just proving my point.
But I do think, like, for the Knicks' needs, that's why Donovan would just be a Cinderella fairy tale fit with how much he loves the city and how much he would likely enjoy it. But it's just Kyrie I'm for it. It's just like I see Nick Wright's point of view. Like you need something like that. You don't care about Thibodeau's mindset. I'm sorry, you just
No,
don't.
I'm not even talking about that. I just think he is so much of a distraction. He couldn't work with Kevin Durant.
Yep.
Like always, guys, follow us on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. He's back.
Game 2, he puts up 10 points against Boston. Like, I get it. You love his highlights. He's the most fun, exciting player to watch, maybe of all time. And, of course, this generation of basketball. And he's amazing. But does he win you games? That's all it comes down to. Does he win you games, or does he drop 10 when it's a must-win in Game 2?
Yeah.
Your old home in Boston. And
exactly.
act like you're gonna feed off this, all this noise that you're going through, but you just basically plummet. And they both were terrible in Game 3 in Brooklyn. So it's like you need a culture change again, whether it's a revamp in the second unit. I saw they're not gonna, rightfully so, they're not gonna match any offer for Nick Claxton. You need a revamp.
Really?
I saw that on NBA Central, I want to say.
Oh, I would like him on the Knicks as a backup.
So Joe Harris is coming back. Ben Simmons is coming in. You're bringing Steve Nash back, which I get it. It's Durant's boy, like Irving. But if you're the Nets, what were you going to say? Did Gus do something?
He's sniffing paint. I don't know if that's good. I mean, it's closed, but yeah.
My thing, if you're Brooklyn, as soon as possible, and I've been saying this since you've been swept to Boston, you need to sit down in a conference room. Joe Tsai, Sean Marks, Steve Nash, Kevin Durant, and the exception of a late appearance of Kyrie Irving. And you're going to talk, Kevin, you need to get on the same page, and you need to get him on the same page. And then Kyrie, you come in, you look him in the eye, and you say, do you think what it takes to have the keys? Because we need you to look at your history.
You want to give this guy the keys?
I don't. But you need to sit down, and if he's going to stay, you're giving him that 2 to 3 year deal, and at most he's getting 3 years, $150. You're not giving him, I've been arguing this with Net fans, with my friend, since the season ended for them. You're not giving them Jokic money, dude. No organization is. You could be like, oh, if the Nets don't give it to him, someone will. They're not giving him 5 years, $240. No one is. No one's giving him.
No one's giving you. Oh my! I can't. I.
It's not a knock.
I can't give you that.
Like you said.
I agree and disagree with you.
Yeah, it's like what you said on the court and how amazing he is. But, dude, you need to win games. Why were the Celtics better when I didn't even think they would be when this happened? Why were they better when he left?
Because this is what I'm saying, though. What is the point of signing him? You're not winning the championship if you just have him. Because RJ Barrett isn't – he's not, I think his ceiling is Jaylen Brown, to be honest. His ceiling. I said ceiling. But I don't think Kyrie Irving is Jason Tatum. So it's I don't when it comes to everything, not just talent. That's the thing. To win a championship, look what the Warriors had to do. Steph had to sacrifice 2-3 years of his career basically, and stuck with the Warriors. Didn't cause any issues. Same with Clay. Draymond's issues are very minimal compared to Kyrie's. Andrew Wiggins bought in. Everyone buys in. Kyrie never has bought in besides when he had LeBron James. Which is why a Russell Westbrook for Kyrie Irving trade is going to happen, and the Nets are going to absolutely implode.
Well, he bought into Boston for about 6 months.
Yeah, that's my point, though, is that do you get why I don't want him?
Yeah, I see your point of view, but I'm for the Knicks gaining traction.
He's using the Knicks as leverage. I'm not stupid, but can you shut up?
But to your point,
I'm talking to the dog.
I know. Yeah, I know, but like my thing is like, yeah, like it doesn't win you a championship, like you said, but Donovan Mitchell doesn't either. I know there's a higher ceiling of growth, more and more, and it's a much better fit. I'm not comparing the fit, but
Yeah.
you got to still fight for those bottom playoff seeds. I think if Mitchell comes, unless Randall has a bounce back season.
But Donovan Mitchell allows you to sign Jalen Brunson. Kyrie Irving hamstrings you from doing that.
That is true, and I'm all for the Brunson fit, especially with his dad being there. I think
Yeah.
everything just on
Because
despite
Kyrie's
that.
a decent defender.
All right, after the Celtics series, I'll laugh at that.
I said decent. I didn't. No, I just.
Point guards, he is point guard. But when he goes
Yeah.
up against, say he goes up against a Barrett, he's probably getting cooked. Like if a guard or forward bigger, he's done for.
I am so excited to see what Barrett does next year. Because do you think he gets the rookie max, the one that like Ja got and Zion?
Yeah. Well, he's gonna get like up there, and
Well, no, he'll get the extension though. I don't know what the number's going to be, but he'll get the extension.
yeah, well, the Morant, Tatum money, Mitchell money. I don't know about that, but
He doesn't qualify for it.
yeah, he'll get a big one and like big money as well. Like,
But yeah,
so
no, but I'm excited to see his growth. Also, if Emmanuel Cookie's a stud, like when he played down the stretch, I know they didn't play like any big teams, even Toppin, but
peace.
yeah, like these could be really and this is really good drafting. Like Quigley was what, the 26th pick? Quickly?
Yeah, 20 something. Toppin is too.
Also, I saw this thing today. It's like the Knicks are probably going to have to give it to Quentin Grimes if they get the 4th pick, or if they get a player. And okay, I get it. And fans are like, no. I'm like, guys, he's Quentin Grimes. You can't have everyone. And he's a 3-point shooter. He's a good player. I like him, but like, I'd get it if it means you're getting your future point guard. Like, I don't. Sometimes fans get so like attached to young players that it's like, if you want Donovan Mitchell, you're gonna have to give up Quentin Grimes and probably quickly.
And yeah, like it's just like those fans are still. I'm sorry, like it's not a knock to you or to them, but those fans are still living in the Atlanta series, Trae Young vibes, party vibes,
Yeah.
And to play Boston opening night, October 20th, and beat them.
Oh, that was great.
Time and
that was such a great game.
Trae Young. I still say to Andrew, like when he would say it to this, like he was obviously rooting for me, but I'd be like, man, like those fans are still in the street from around Halloween time chanting Trae Young, look acting like it was a championship. And
Do you oh look.
Did you see my tweet after like the Tatum the day after they lost, and they're like, dude, like he just has Barrett on his mind, and then I quote it. I'm like, oh, I'm sure he does.
And you see Jaden Ivey like is a big fan of Barrett. If Ivy, like I said, if Ivy ends up being like not in play style, but the level of like a Trae Young or a John Morant, then look at this team now all of a sudden. You know? And if he's not going to Cousins' birthday parties, and yeah, I mean, Kyrie Irving's a special talent. He's a Hall of Fame talent. He's a role player brain. He's a
non-player brain.
He's just. I just think you take your shot with the rookie. I don't think Randall's on this team. I just think he has such a high mark, and I don't even call it a fall from grace because he had a good year. I don't know if he'll accept not being the top guy, because as a number 2 or 3, he's a really good player, like a 20 and 10 guy, like, or even 18 and 10 if you take away some volume. But I think he can fit the Knicks, but at the same time, I don't think he's going to. I think they like Toppin a lot. Also, there was rumors if they were going to trade Toppin, it has to be for like a lot. So I think Randall's a more likely guy to get moved. But speaking of big men getting moved, before we leave real quick, how do you feel about the Christian Wood trade?
Well, to your point, I think he would be fine being a second option if it means they're winning and
Yeah.
he's helping them win. But
I just think like the way he plays right now would have to change a lot.
yeah, of course. And I have a question for you too after this, I guess, before we go. But I honestly love it. I was a little surprised that his price, his value, I just thought it was a little ridiculous. But like we said, Dallas needed this, and like with or without Brunson, we talked about Gobert, we talked about Miles Turner possibilities, but I feel like this is the guy, and he could play a little on the perimeter and shoot some threes. He can rebound. Obviously, we just like Randall with double doubles. He could get you the 15 plus and 10 on that team, and I like him with Jason Kidd. I think it's a great fit. I'm just shocked that that's what his price was, and I felt like that was
That hurts the Knicks a little bit. Although he's better than I think Randall might be better than him, like value wise right now. But I mean Christian was a good player.
Yeah,
I love the move.
He's young. I really do too. He's young. That's a big trade for when the finals is still going on. Like that reminded me a little. I think it might have been right after, but that reminded me of the Horford Kemba swap. And yeah, I think Dallas is going to be really good. Like we said, the Clippers will be back.
They got better. I mean, they gave up Boban, so that might have made Luka a little upset. But let's face facts. He wasn't really him. I think Trey Burke was in the trade too. Like they didn't give up anything. What they give up their first this year?
Some pick, some first, I think. Yeah, you're right. I believe.
Yeah, but even so, like Dallas finished in the Western Conference Finals, so their pick's not high.
Exactly, like us with White, basically. And now,
yeah, like it's not worth the pick. Like the NBA draft is so top heavy every year, so.
And like when you're a team like Boston or the Mavericks who just want more veterans and more help, and yeah, now with White, we'll see the possibilities, like knowing his price and the fact that they gave up the pick, like I was saying before.
I also think getting a guy like Christian Wood, it lets guys fall into place a little bit. Like I think Maxi Kleber and Dwight Powell are solid players, but they can't be your third, fourth option on a championship team. I think Christian Wood as your third guy. I think they're still kind of missing a two if they lose Brunson. Christian Wood could be a two, I think, but Dinwiddie's there.
Yeah.
And if he can kind of take in Brunson's role, you sign like free agents. They still have Bullock. Actually, do they still have Bullock?
Yeah, they do. And I would start Dorian too. Like
that's my point. Like they have a lot of guys like that, but they didn't have that that big man that would work really well with Luka because like Harden and Embiid. Except I think just Luka's a little bit more athletic, a lot more athletic, and just younger than Harden.
Yeah, and it's just like they what was I just gonna say? We've talked about how much Brunson is a big drop off from Doncic, and they needed to do something. We talked a lot about it in the conference finals, but they're going to be interesting. I mean, the Pelicans will be really good. The Lakers will make moves, and the Clippers will be back, and the Nuggets will be back. But
Memphis,
yes.
Although they give me a lot of Atlanta vibes.
Big summer for Utah too. Huge summer, as we know.
Yeah. And do you think Christian was better than Porzingis? I do. But
the fit for the Mavericks, yes.
Yeah. I don't like I think it's a great move. But you said you had another question to ask me?
Two basically. Who do you think out of the guys I named would fit Boston with the TPE, and who do you think Beal's going to go to if he doesn't stay?
Well, for the TPE, since it's a straightforward answer, you said you gave me Kuzma,
Beasley, Duncan Robinson, Norm Powell, KCP, Herter. There's someone else that I didn't write down too, but you know how much I love Norman Powell.
The guy I was gonna say before he's not on that list was Tobias Harris because they're looking to move him. I think that'd be a good fit for them.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Okay, well, anyway,
especially for $29 million. I mean, if it was 13,
oh yeah.
If it was 13, yeah.
I mean, Kuzma's a good player.
Oh, I would love him.
He's
Yeah,
a good player. Like he gets a lot of hate for wearing his Silver Surfer outfits, but he's a good player. KCP's kind of old.
he tweeted Boston's a nice city in the summer, like a couple days.
Yeah, KCP's kind of old. You said the guy with a big contract.
Duncan, 16.
Yes. No. Yeah. No. I'm not paying him 17 million.
Yeah, I'm not. With the
Um, Dragic as a backup, it's decent because you guys only have a backup point guard.
Well, he's just the MLE guy. Yeah, you give him 2 million. You give him.
I think Kuzma is a good fit for you guys.
They love Kyle Anderson. Like Brad's always liked him, even though like he's not that much of an answer. Like I'd say White's better, and
Yeah.
they don't love him, but Connaughton
He's a good shooter, so he might be interesting too. But I think overall player wise, Kuzma, because he could probably slide into that 4. You can have Rob at the 5, and then you have Horford will come off the bench as he gets a little older. You need more minutes,
I
you know.
that.
So I like Kuzma a lot. Where's Beal gonna land?
Where do you
I don't think he's leaving, but if I had to pick a team,
even if you don't like Boston, you could say it. I mean, like I
don't like the fit for Boston. So, Chicago's re-signing Levine. What the hell are you doing?
I think it's potentially Portland or LA if he doesn't.
I was gonna say Portland.
And it's not the Celtics.
Well, there was a list of guys that Dame he goes, I want to play with this lineup. I'm like, all right, but Atlanta.
Okay, I mean, I know they're gonna look at Zach,
and they want to trade John Collins.
I mean, we're gonna hear a lot of his noise between now and Thursday. I want to say. And probably you could say the same with the Pacers. You could say the same with.
Yeah, with Beal, his play style is weird because he plays like. What are you doing? Stop it! What are you eating? 1 second. Oh.
Good.
What are you eating, Gus? Open your mouth. Hey. As long as you can swallow, I don't care. All right. He's so dumb. I'm keeping this all in. Except for the one connection issue we had. But
my thing, if you as long as you don't have to get rid of Brown, that's fine.
No, you're not gonna have to.
Yeah, of course, especially with the year they just had. And
I don't know where Atlanta seems like a decent fit.
I think it does too. And then he could put up to the point guard point, he's put up 5-6 assists this year, so they can make that work, I guess.
But yeah, probably Atlanta or Portland's a good fit. But yeah, this has been a fun podcast.
Yeah, it has a little depression reflecting and stuff like that. But we talk a lot about a lot of possibilities. Like we'll get into baseball and football, like we said, and obviously
we got into football a little bit today.
Yeah, and a lot of noise these next few weeks. Like I keep on saying, starting Thursday, really.
Yeah. So this is our last before the draft. I don't really care too much about the draft. It's so hard to do these mock drafts with all these wacky players.
Yeah, and I care less if we don't have a first rounder. And yeah, it's just I'm interested in the moves to be made. And this is a big summer for a lot of people. Boston will be aggressive, just like Golden State when they lost in 16 and they went after Durant. The Lakers are going to make big moves. The Philadelphia 76ers, like I said, your team, the Nets, for the NBA's most popular teams, this is a big summer.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, that's all we got. I got to take care of this dog before it rips my house up.
We'll be back, and Boston.
Right after the draft, we'll do a little. We'll see what the Knicks go. We'll see what they do. I think a lot's going to happen in the next couple of days.
Yeah, of course. Celtics banner 18 will be back, and go Sox.
Yep. All right. Go Mets. All right. LFGM. All right. See you guys later. You guys know where to find us. And thank you guys for listening. Again, like I said before, we really appreciate all your support, even though it's not a ton of you guys. We know who you are, and we really appreciate it. So see
Yep.
you guys next week. We're going to get this out next week again. So
Talk to you soon, my friend.
see you later.
Later, pal.